boys. Robbie, welcome back. Hope you made yourself a cup of tea while we had that break. Lovely. I've got myself one. Christmas cups are out early.
It was
But
actually go on. Sorry, go on.
sorry, I was just going to say, while it's still fresh in my mind, you made a really good point before the video was about to end about forgiveness. And I think that's a really good thing to touch on because I remember like I hold on to so much, grudges and stuff, and as much as I want
Yeah,
to let it go, it's weighing on me,
niggles actually.
it's in there, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like the amount of people I think of that didn't treat me right when I was quite symptomatic with my autism. I was kind of like, well, fuck you, you wouldn't say anything to me now because I'm more
yeah,
confident. That kind of way people are nice to me now, and I often think, are they being genuine or is it because I'm more confident and I wouldn't tolerate it? And it's like just let it go. People say that to me all the time, and I'm like, I have a really hard time letting stuff go. Do you ever
yeah.
find that
Well,
yourself?
I'm actually quite guilty of that. Like
Yeah,
I wanted to talk to you around the assessment process for getting done for ADHD because
yeah.
kids actually educated me and told me that maybe I have that. And I was kind of laughing at them, but I think it might be true. I'm very animated when I talk. You might notice the hands going everywhere, but I think I do.
I
But
find you great to listen to. I enjoy it.
nice one. But let's say like I maybe it affected my thought process when I was younger.
Yeah,
Because like I'd have teachers and everything saying you were stupid and this and the other, but I didn't want to
yeah,
be in.
yeah,
No, I just didn't want to be in school. So I kind of grew up, and during your young twenties, you don't really give a shit. You think you're going to party and whatever. But as I got older,
100%.
I was having like these deep thoughts of things that happened in the past and
Yeah,
the unfairness of it, and like it basically got to a point where like I was so overwhelmed, I just broke down. It was just too much for me.
yeah,
So I had to figure something out, and I found a way to do it. Like I did do counseling, and she was brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. She got me to visualize myself as a young child.
yeah,
And who's the like you are the expert of your own feelings. Like you know exactly what happened. You're just trying to find a way to heal yourself in a way. But every time I had a memory, I just imagine my younger self there, and who better to give you advice than your older self?
yeah,
And you tell them actually you do end up figuring that out, and you do end up overcoming that. So you're kind of it's like building your self belief, building your value for yourself. Like I think what you were saying there, like being more confident and not allowing people to walk over you, that's having value for yourself.
yeah,
And if someone doesn't have value for you, I just don't give them the energy. There's no point. They're doing me a favor. So what I've done is I've accepted things that happened to me in the past, but things people I can't fix it with because they were teachers or whatever they were. But with family members, we had chats, we had conversations over the years, slow progress, but
yeah,
it was progress, and it was about forgiving them. But I have to say, it took time. Like in the last 3 years, I'm 40 now, so in the last 3 years, really forgiven a lot of people, and my relationship has improved. But what the big thing for me was, don't know, if, sometimes you might feel like a child in your mind,
yeah,
when you're in a room with people, you forget
all
that
the
you're,
time.
yeah, you forget that
Yeah,
you're an adult and what you say has value. But it was actually when I probably stood up to my parents and said, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be that. Like, if you have an argument with someone, I can't back you up all the time. I can't not talk to somebody because you're not talking to them.
yeah,
So just when it happened, I realized that was a huge problem for me. Like, I was afraid of conflict,
yeah,
but through conflict, you get resolution. You just have to be brave enough to go through it and be gentle enough to be able to talk to somebody without starting a fight. So I think the skills I learned in social care helped me be more calmer, be more recipient to what the other party are saying, and fizzling it out. But like I think as you get older, I think you understand why people did what they did. They
yeah,
may have had their problems, and they had like a lot of abuse happened to them, and you wouldn't know. So you don't know what caused their behaviors. So I kind of realized life is hard, and people are going to treat you poorly. But the only thing that did for me is encourage me to, the way if someone when you're a kid, you always remember when someone was bad to you, but you
yeah,
always remember when someone was really good to you. And those people that were really good and really encouraged you, you think, I want to be like that person. I don't want to be like that person that puts other kids down or whatever. So that was my motivation to treat people better. If people don't treat me well, that's fine. They'll do me a favor because I can
Yeah,
walk away from them. So I keep my circle small, but the circle that I have, it's a good circle, and there's good people in it who really care about me, and I care about them. So I think it's about just sometimes to become a better part of yourself. You have to say a few goodbyes. You really do. You can't be around people that don't really have your back. And sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow when you realize you'd friends that weren't really friends. You know,
yeah,
you do,
100%.
so it's
I
just
said
about,
that to my dad, that exact thing, right? And this is just gas. Have your
yeah,
back, like you said there. And,
yeah,
and like we both know what that means. If someone
yeah,
is treating me unfairly, then that means you have my back and you'll be there with me. I said
mm,
that to my dad because I was out with a few of my mates before, and there were mates that I had since I was a kid, and then we had a new mate from school, and they didn't
yeah,
know him as long as they'd known me. But he started slagging me off, and they were taking his side and joining in. And I got pissed off with them. I said, I'm fucking leaving, see you. And I
yeah,
said to my dad, I'll meet you after I'm done with them. And he was like, oh, no, you can stay. You can hang on with your mates if you want, and we'll meet up a bit later. I was like, no, it's grand. And he's like,
yeah,
what's wrong with you? And I said, I'm a bit sick of them, they don't have my back. And he was like, what do you mean, have your back? And I was like, stand up for you. And then I
yeah,
realized he never had anyone that had his back. And that made me
yeah,
empathize with him a lot.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And
he
actually, I had
was
the same
selfish in a
experience.
way, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, he had to be to survive. Like none of his older brothers ever had his back. Nobody gave a shit, so he had to just kind of fend for himself in a way.
Actually,
Isn't
that's a
that
good point.
sad?
That's a very good point because probably have that in my family as well. Like
Yeah,
they didn't have a top upbringing themselves, but they tried their best. But yeah, that's a good point. But there's another aspect of it as well. And let's say you were you're really balanced and you got that emotional support when you're younger. Like I realized down the line, when people take the piss out of you, especially when you're on a building, so you're walking away, it's actually
oh yeah,
but it's nearly a compliment. It's
yeah.
nearly a compliment because if they didn't even like you, they wouldn't even talk to you.
It's
But I think
banter. Yeah,
banter, and I think lads can do that. They take the piss out of each other. But unless they get like personal, okay, you're being nasty. Or else if someone takes the piss out of you about something that you like and you're proud of, that's a bit of banter, and
yeah,
that's just bonding. You know what I mean? And I do find that, but you will be able to determine, are you actually really attacking me, or are you trying to have the crack with me and have a bit of fun?
yeah.
So
Exactly.
it took me a
100%.
while to balance that out and realize actually they were only having a joke. I was very sensitive when I was growing up,
Me
very
too.
sensitive.
Me too.
Like someone could say something to me, and I'm going home, and I'm like, "That fucking motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking," and you're thinking in your head, and you'd write them a big message. And I did this one time. Had one of my mates take the piss, and I wasn't in a good headspace, and sent him the longest message ever, saying like, I stood by you, I supported you," and he was like, "Shit."
Yeah,
I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't know you felt that way. Totally changed. But it's true communication, me having value for myself and saying, nah, don't treat me like that. And you can do that. You can do that in a gentle way. You don't have to be feisty about it, but it takes practice. It takes time to develop your skills. So,
yeah.
like, what old are you now? Do you mind me asking?
No, bother. 26. Still
26.
young enough.
Good age, yeah. 20. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, when I was 26, yeah, I wasn't good at coping with things. I really wasn't. I spent a lot of time. I actually spent a lot of time on my own. What
yeah.
happened was I went to partying like I was full time mad bastard, and then I had to
The
stop.
Facebook profile.
Yeah, yeah. But I had to stop it, and I got my head together, and I went to college, back to college, and did social care. But from that point on, I knew I had to stop hanging around with my friends because a lot of
Yeah,
them were taking drugs and all that at the time. I was like,
yeah,
need to be better. I don't want that life for me. And like even looking back, some of them still say it to me, like, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing wrong with it. Why would you not? Why would you not have a buzz? I go, actually, I don't like the way it makes me feel. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
Sometimes it's great when you're having the buzz and you're off your face, but having to deal with the fucking emotions afterwards,
yeah,
it could take 2 or 3 fucking months to get your head around it. You might actually re-traumatize yourself with something you completely forgot about. So I realized actually you need to be sober minded to start really looking at yourself and accepting yourself. Like
Yeah,
even I drank a lot of alcohol, became a lot more. I had no patience. I was very like, not aggressive, but I was very grumpy. You couldn't really talk to me. It was only when I stopped drinking and kind of got me head on top, I started realizing, shit, I'm actually, I was probably sabotaging myself a lot,
yeah,
but give yourself a chance. You have to give yourself a chance. But some people don't do that. They stay in this loop. And unfortunately, I see it a lot. They end up getting families and getting married, and the whole thing collapses because they
yeah,
still have a party mindset. So if you want to take your life seriously, yeah, give yourself a chance. Develop your skills. Get away from all that shit for a while. You can still go back and party after a while if you wanted to, but you do have to grow up sometimes.
yeah. I know
But
what
like
you
you said,
mean.
sorry, we're off on a rant there, but like
Ah,
just
carry
looking
on.
what you said about your dad, like my dad was very similar. Like he didn't get that support, and it was kind of like, oh, you'd be grand. But like
Exactly.
as a
Yeah, the
kid,
Irish dad.
yeah, the Irish died, but you needed a bit more. You need a bit
Yeah,
more. I have to say though, I see fathers now and mothers now, and like especially my sister, well, her children, really good parents. They
yeah,
like they don't make the same mistake. They make a load of new mistakes, but they don't make the same mistakes that parents made. And if you think about it, they came from a very conservative upbringing, and they were only come like should the women only got their rights really in the 90s. So they
yeah.
were only coming out of that. So like yeah, they were trying to no, they realized that upbringing I got wasn't good, but they went more liberal with it and do it what you want. So there has to be a balance. But I'm starting to
Of
see the
course.
balance now with another generation, and kids get a lot more, they're a lot more grounded and they're encouraged more. Like I find kids now to be very confident and like they
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
know their rights, they're really good.
They do.
But, like, you know,
Absolutely.
but I do think they still experience a lot of emotion, emotional problems, and I don't know if it's because we're more softer in our approach, instead of saying get on with it, we're like, no,
Or
let's
a
let's
whack over the head. It's like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not allowed. Physical violence is not encouraged at
exactly,
all
yes.
now. Any
I don't
kind,
know.
like
Yeah, I don't like let's say they took away, you wouldn't have been around for corporal punishment. Neither was I. I was just at the end of it. I
yeah,
just born at the end. I'll tell you her name. Her name was Miss Murphy, but she's probably long gone by now. But she had a cane and
a
she
million
whipped.
Miss Murphys around.
Oh, there is, yeah. But like, she
Yeah,
got the best out of us. Like, we were
yeah,
very, very good for her. But like, when they ended all that, they didn't replace it with something else. Like, how can you discipline without letting them away with it? You need to be accountable for your actions, and you need to feel the consequence of your actions. And I think that's a
yeah,
big missing, especially with like in the job I'm in with social care. You you can't discipline a kid. Like what you do, it's called a sanction, and that's just
yeah,
taking pocket money away or something. Like I just find you're restricted in how you can approach the young person because you don't want to upset them, this, that, and the other. And really, you're kind of going, is it really worth having the argument? But these little things, now, the reason why I'm saying this, I had a young person working, I was working for him as a key worker, and there was loads of things I wanted to say to him, but I didn't because I didn't want to affect our relationship because I was making good progress with him
yeah,
and
yeah.
making good progress. But then when he left care and he was out on his own, um, I met him. He was up at a shopping centre with his girlfriend or whatever, and we were just talking. And he started kind of giving out to me. Why didn't you tell me about this? And why didn't you tell me about that? And I was like, I didn't want to like hurt your feelings, but that's what changed my practice. So I started saying the things that you want to say, but you don't. So I just
Yeah.
started being that person. I made sure I got everything off my chest about the young person, like things that I wouldn't be like negative. It's like, actually, this you've been doing this over and over again, and you can't change it. So I'd like to identify things for them. But yeah, I got a few kids that were given out to me because I didn't help them identify their problems, and it was a big wake up call for me because I thought I was doing a good job. So since that point, I was very direct with the kids. I told them in the gentlest way possible. But what happened was they trusted me because I was telling
Yeah.
them the truth. So I think there's a way of dealing with like young people and their emotions without making it worse.
Yeah.
But I think
True.
social media and all that, you don't learn, like you have to learn people's facial expressions and like you you wouldn't talk to someone like let's say you're driving down the road in your car, you're fucking beeping at someone. You wouldn't do that in real life. You wouldn't talk to someone like that in the street. No. And then even with yourself, like would you allow would you talk to somebody in the street like you talk to yourself sometimes? Do you know what I
No,
mean?
usually not.
Oh, I can be very
Beat
critical.
myself up a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, but you wouldn't talk to a person on the street like that. But you'll do it
no,
to yourself. So that's where you need to give yourself a break. And you need to
yeah,
start, because like, you need to start telling yourself good things about yourself. I find
absolutely. Yeah,
that that's what helped me kind of build up your confidence and all that. I had to go, actually, you know what? There's only one me in the world. And I had to kind of build myself up a little bit instead of saying, oh, you can't do that. Like you were saying there, you didn't have they didn't have the belief in themselves as they were growing up, you know, with your dad. You know, I just think that's changing now. But
yeah.
I,
Dads are getting more involved, which I think is a good thing because, like we were saying earlier, if you come into someone's life having missed all the crucial years and then tell them everything they're doing wrong, pointing the finger
yeah,
at them, they're gonna turn around and go, "But you ever fuck off?" You know what I mean? You didn't put
that's
in the hard graft. Like when
yeah,
I'm coaching the young lads, and to be fair, I always say this to everybody. I always go, "I was probably more difficult than any of the young fellas that I coach now."
yeah. I was anyway. I
Yeah,
was.
and like I would take on if I thought that I was going to get somewhere or a coach gave me respect, I'd be like, okay, he's giving me respect. He's not coming in big swinging Mickey going, I'm the
Yeah,
coach,
yeah.
telling you what to do. It's like, okay, I
I
expect a bit
listened
of
to.
respect,
Yeah,
because I'm giving it to you. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough.
yeah. Goes a long way. And like, you don't really think a kid would think that way, but we did
Yeah.
when we were kids. Like
Yeah, I
we,
try and think how I was thinking, like you were saying
yeah,
earlier. How would I think in this situation? And
yeah,
because, like I keep saying, I'm not long out of school, but I always had a mindset of, you know, what is a young fella going to respond to if I start screaming at him? He's going to meet me with aggression. He's not going to respond
absolutely.
well to it.
Yeah, he's going to mirror that. He's going to mirror that.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
you may not be able to identify it as a kid, or he showed me respect, but you feel it. It's only when you
Yeah.
get older, you look back and go, actually, that person was good to me and they respected me. And
Yeah.
that's who I tried to be at work when I was a social care worker. But like, you know, it depends on the young person as well. It really does.
Does,
But
yeah.
there's a question I wanted to ask you around, because
Yeah.
I went, let's say I took a lot of young kids to their appointments for getting tested for ADHD. What is the process with that? How does that go about?
The process for autism, anyway. Now, I got told I had ADHD,
Yeah,
autism, and comorbid anxiety. And then they took one away. They said the ADHD is probably not present, but
yeah,
I don't believe that. The process for me getting an autism assessment was a series of questions, and then when they ask you the questions to see if you make eye contact, if you're kind of nervous in the corner. I think for ADHD, what it is if you can focus on a task. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I give you a piece of paper, how long before you start losing attention? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I do feel like it's overdiagnosed and then actual cases are missed out on because it's a real
yeah,
thing. But people
yeah,
say this kid's hyper, he must have ADHD, or someone will say, "Oh, I can't read, I must be dyslexic," but they're real
yeah,
conditions. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I think the process for ADHD is literally to observe the kid as you give him tasks and to see can he focus on it or is he getting easily distracted, and you're purposely putting stuff in the room to distract him. It's gotten a
yeah,
lot more advanced than it was before, but I know for my autism assessment, it was kind of asking my mom, how I
yeah.
was, especially for a young child. Like, and I got an early diagnosis. I was only 7.
You're only
So,
seven.
like, yeah, yeah. So most of it would have been talking to my mom, observing how I was with other kids. So that's another thing that I think is quite good, is seeing
Yeah,
how the kid is in the classroom setting. Just going about their day as they would be without even knowing that the supervisor is there. Because
yeah.
then you can observe them and they're not paranoid that someone's watching them. Do you know that
And
kind
like,
of way?
yeah, like after the diagnosis, did you get a sense of, okay, I know where I stand now, and I know maybe why I was the way I was. Like, let's say when I was in school like that, I had no interest in school, and
Yeah.
I always got the same results. So he could do well if he tried, but I just had no, I just didn't want to be that. And then the teachers would have considered me disruptive because I'd be talking
Yeah,
and this, you know, all that stuff. But looking back now, I was like, actually, that was probably what was going on, you know.
yeah.
But I haven't gone through a process like that yet. But I think I'm just wondering, is it beneficial to do it? Like I'm 40. Would it benefit me as a 40-year-old man to actually go and get assessed?
I think it'll give you peace of mind more than anything. Like for me, it's difficult. I relate to people who are older and have gotten a late diagnosis because a lot of autistic people, and here's the thing I find, it's like they're given into, you know what I mean? And I don't think that helps at all. Like I'm an older brother, so there's other people in my life that are important. I feel if you give in too much, then they become quite selfish and introverted. And,
Yeah,
and that's not necessarily saying they're a bad kid, but I think it might help you to go, look, this is why I do this. It's not a negative thing, it's just a condition I have. And
just
it's
how I
probably a
do
strength as well. Like you're able to
it.
interact, and it's probably a really good strength for you. Like I find that I'm able to hyper focus on things if I'm interested in them. Do you know what I mean? And I'll,
I've the same. I've the
yeah,
same. Yeah.
yeah. And
Like,
I'll be able to quote so many things back to people, and they're like, "How the fuck do you know that?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"Because you told me."
yeah.
It's like I was listening. Do you not listen when you're talking to me? Do
Yeah,
you know that kind
that's
of
the
way?
thing, you know. Like, I find it, that's why I wasn't interested in school. But when I left school, I started learning what I wanted to learn. I
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
history and I learned it my way. And like you say, I was hyper focused on it. And then I was actually that bad. I think my brain crashed a little bit. I
yeah,
was reading that much information. My brain just crashed and I couldn't pronounce even the smallest words. My whole vocabulary went off the
yeah.
chart. And I
Did you
felt
take on a lot of things? Like, here's one
I,
thing that you might find: you take on a lot of tasks and don't complete them. Is
Yeah,
that something?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And what was happening was I was in college as well, let's say, and I was studying sociology and all that stuff, which I had to do. But yeah,
yeah,
I was learning about the universe and other things on the side. So I would have done really, now I did all right with my results, but I would have done better if I just focused on it. But I couldn't. I couldn't
yeah.
sit there and just start an assignment. I'd do anything to kind of procrastinate and leave it on the long finger. But when I was interested in it, I absorbed myself into it and
Same here.
it didn't bother me at all. Didn't bother me. So I wondered, like, is that a condition of maybe ADHD or whatever? So I was
I
thinking,
think so.
would it benefit me to go get tested and see
Yeah, it
what?
might do, especially with things around burnout. Like people think of a hyperactive kid, but they don't see the burnout, the come
Yeah,
down. And then as well, like you might be more susceptible to addictions. I know ADHD has a high comorbidity with addiction,
yeah,
addictive behaviors anyway.
yeah. And you said something there about going up and down. That has been a pattern in my life, going
Yeah,
up and down. Like when I'm up, I'm up, I'm having the ball.
yeah,
But when you go down, it could take months to get out of it. And I noticed that cycle. But
yeah,
it got less and less. It got less and less because probably I improved my lifestyle. I was in a healthy relationship and all that, but it could be something triggers me at work and I just hit the floor and it takes a long time to get back up. But
yeah,
that happened recently. That happened there December, and I was like, no, I need to do something. And that's when I started getting chatting with you. Believe it or not, it was just after getting medications, and I came
yeah,
across your videos, and I was just, I like what he's doing. So that's how I got interested in your videos. I was going through a bit of a change myself, trying to
yeah.
better my life, and I saw you doing the same, and I was like, okay, there's people out there trying to help each other, but like
That's
there's no,
exactly why I started it. Yeah, like for people like yourself who are like-minded, and it's like
yeah,
if I post a video of me down by the beach, I know some of the topics I can get into are quite grim. So I'm kind of like, oh, this depressing bastard again. Let's put up a picture of me down by the beach to make it a bit happier and to go, look, you're not going to have great days all the time. They're going to be
yeah,
miserable, but look, nobody's perfect. And I found it really tough recently. And I wanted to ask you something about when you were on building sites. I
yeah,
noticed a lot of lads who were heavy drinkers, like they'd stumble onto the site drunk sometimes.
yeah.
There was a lot of heavy drinkers and gamblers as well. Did you
Yeah,
notice
well,
that?
I did, and especially I was right. I did welding for 2 years.
Yeah,
I won't tell you well, but these lads were heavy drinkers. I mean it. And there was a few lads, like they were all hard men, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, really
they
tough men
are. Yeah,
and drinking heavy and a lot of drugs. But when I went into electrician, it was more drugs because they had
yeah.
money. It was cocaine
Coke.
and stuff
Lots of
like that.
coke. Yeah,
Yeah, lots of coke, and it was like Christmas Day every day. But like, I did find, yeah, it depends what industry, but there's a lot of drug taking, and I think it's just could be the stress of life. I don't know, or
yeah,
people are having a crack, but it can get out of hand. But I do have to say, I do find there's a lot more people who have. I wonder about this label ADHD and all this stuff because there's a lot of people I know with similar symptoms, and I'm
yeah.
like, it's not just the way it is. Like, are we just being overworked? Is there just the world's going too fast
I think
and it's
so.
overwhelming?
Yeah.
You know, like you look at the news that I can't even watch the news anymore because you end up getting
No,
angry
no.
and it's like
Stay
it's the
away from
whole world is
it.
falling apart. But it wasn't always like that. Like when you could hear things in the radio, like you'd hear, oh, someone died up, whatever, and it'd shock you. Now
Yeah,
you hear people getting killed or whatever. It doesn't phase me. It doesn't phase me. So I think it's kind of numbed us a little bit, and it's taken away your humanity in a way. Something's wrong anyway, and I see a lot of people struggling when they're actually solid people. And I think then they go and get assessed and they might have ADHD or whatever. And I'm just thinking, we always had that. Like, when you're in school and someone really was on the spectrum, like when
yeah.
I was younger, you might only have one or two people in the school that are
Oh,
actually, but they
it's gone
still,
up a lot.
yeah, they were still in our school. They didn't have to go to a special school.
Yeah,
But now it's like everyone has ADHD, everyone has autism and this, that, and the other. And the real people who actually do have them, it's kind of like they're put into the same basket as everyone else. And
that's
that's
what
what,
annoyed me, because
yeah,
the only people I'd be able, especially around sport, and I think like you were talking about there, the people you work with on building sites are very macho men, like
yeah.
bricklayers as well. Bricklayers have some grit. I remember
Oh, you
shaking hands
do.
with a
Our hands
brickie,
are
and
like cement, yeah.
oh, but I surrounded myself around that sort of environment because, in many ways, to try and relate to my dad or whatever, and he'd grown up kind of in that world, but he's actually quite a soft fellow underneath it all. But
Yeah, funny.
I got into the drinking side of it, and we were talking about athletes getting depressed in our last video.
Yeah.
And I was there thinking, I play rugby and all, and I played football for health. There was nothing healthy about what we were doing. Like, I remember the amount of shite, the amount of things that people put into their bodies. Like,
I
those
know.
pre workouts.
Yeah, yeah.
I nearly had a heart attack on the pitch. And then straight after the game, we're on the points. Lads bring a crate of beer in. We all have loads. And in the shower, with rugby, they say rugby's a manly sport, and people joke that
Yeah.
it's gay. And I'm like, sometimes I can't defend it. A load of lads having
Yeah, yeah.
bottles in the shower.
But
But
it's
the
true.
amount
Like,
they'd go through, it was just insane. And I was looking at lads and thinking, I want to get somewhere. Like, I was still doing my training. I came to pre-season in good shape. But the lads were all saying, I'll go out and mingle with the fellas. And because I used to be quite, I'd say asocial, antisocial
yeah,
is a whole different thing,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the violent behaviour, asocial, I'd say more so. The anxiety used to get to me. So when lads were handing me drink, I was like, great. I love drinking after games, and that became a really bad habit. So I was doing my fitness and I was really good all week. But then come game day, you do your thing, you play your game, and then Jesus, we would be lashing into the drink, and lads would be
yeah,
taking coke after the games and not getting to sleep till like 5 in the morning if they even slept. So I thought, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with me. I'm just having a few drinks, but
yeah.
the
Because you're
amount I was
comparing
drinking,
yourself to people who are worse off than you.
yeah, and
Everyone is
taking
scared.
heavy drugs, you
Yeah,
know,
that's how it go. Like I was actually okay up until I was 18. I might have
yeah,
tried marijuana once or twice, but I
yeah,
wasn't bad on it. And then when I turned 18, went into the welding job. That was what changed my direction.
yeah,
Like that's when I first tasted cocaine and all that stuff, and everyone was on it every day,
yeah.
and it became just a normal thing. And you were going to the pub after work, and it was just mental. But like it's hard to break away from that then when you actually think, no, I
Oh,
want to,
100%.
and it's an
Yeah,
expensive habit as well, which can cause
yeah,
your problems. So like cocaine, drugs, whatever you do, whatever your addiction is, it's going to really impair you and your
yeah,
judgment, and relationships as well. You know,
absolutely.
and then you might compare yourself. Like let's say I look at some of the lads I used to go to school with, and I notice like, okay, they're actually doing really well, but they never engaged in the drinking, the drugs, and they're probably 5, 10 years ahead of me in their careers or whatever the fuck they're doing. So like I do actually reflect on that and say, actually, yeah, that really set me back. But it was a coping mechanism.
Yeah,
That's why I did it. You know, that's why most of the kids in care do that thing. It's all about just maintaining. Like the kids used to say to me, "I'm normal when I'm on drugs." You know, and I'm just like, no, no, it's
no, you're
not.
not.
Yeah, but that was their perception. You know, I'm actually I can go out and socialize. So they couldn't
Yeah,
even leave the house sometimes, and like trying to get them to ring a takeaway, they can't do it. It's like, no, what if I fuck up? They're afraid of fucking up.
yeah, yeah.
You
The
know,
anxiety levels like are
yeah,
just insane.
things that it brings with it. You know,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah,
to come
straight.
down, like I remember trying cocaine actually in 2020 with the lockdown. That was the first
Yeah,
time because I kind of thought, look, who knows what's going to happen. I wasn't in a great place. I
yeah,
thought, fuck it, we'll try it. And I remember the second time I had it was actually after my first suicide attempt. So in between that suicide attempt was my first two times ever taking coke, and it was very, it was very good at getting me to, be the life of the party again. But then after an
yeah.
hour back down, and I
And
slept for like a week, I was gone. I
they
felt
call it,
terrible after it.
yeah, that's the cocaine blues.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you really remember shit you have forgotten about for a long time,
yeah,
and yeah, it takes you about a week or two to come around. That's why I wouldn't go near it now. But at the time, it was actually distracting me from what was going on. Like my mum and dad went through a separation, and that happened young enough, so that was a chaotic time during my life. And I thought
yeah,
like the drugs actually break away from it, but that created a whole problem in itself. You know, and
yeah,
there's things I wouldn't mention that I did. Like, I really got involved in things that like really could have put me in jail and stuff. So like, I just got the right chance to break away. I had massive panic attacks.
yeah,
That's what motivated me to stop doing everything. And that's when I stopped drinking, everything. So I stopped doing everything for 10 years. And then after a while, I had a few drinks when COVID kicked in and it
yeah,
just went from there. But then looking back, I'm like, okay, I was doing all right. And then I went to the drinking and then it was like, oh, this is easier. This is
yeah,
easier.
yeah.
But yeah, you're better off just trying to address things as they happen instead of drinking them away or drugging them away or whatever. You know.
Exactly. And that's the thing behind every addiction. There's always a trauma,
It's always a child based.
always something.
Yeah, it's always that way. Unless like fuck. Well, no, I actually probably 99% of it. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah,
might just get unlucky. You're a rich person or whatever. I'm not even saying you can be wealthy and have mental health problems, but
yeah,
you can have a good life and you just happen to like a certain drug and it takes it controlling you. And
yeah,
what's our time at the moment? Oh, 7 minutes. Have
yeah.
any questions? Yeah, any other questions you'd like to address? We can do another Zoom meeting down the line anyway.
Yeah,
If you
we're
don't.
gonna keep this going anyway because
Yeah,
it's something I've been looking forward to. I'm just looking at it here. We've 7 minutes, just over 7 minutes. So
yeah,
yeah, just what I want to talk to you was kind of that sort of thing, and what age you've noticed lads starting, like, because I would have gone to an okay school, like it was a non-fee paying, like it was a public school, but like in a decent enough area in South Dublin,
yeah,
and I just was amazed by how young we all started smoking, drinking, then like smoking joints. Nobody really looks down on that even now, but yeah, looking at it, I just remember thinking I was always a good boy, and I was always into my training. Rugby was always a thing for me, or
yeah,
football, boxing. I was always doing some kind of sport. I never thought I'd get involved. I certainly never thought that I'd take a class A drug, and
yeah,
then going to therapy myself, but going to see a psychiatrist now, and I broke down. I felt like I had to have a proper breakdown before they take me seriously. And like what
yeah.
you were
Get
talking
screwed up.
about, yeah, and like what you were
Yeah,
talking about earlier, if you're saying one person, then another, like every time I go in to get an assessment, it's a different psychiatrist. And I was
yeah,
like, well, why didn't you open up about these things before? And I'm like, because if I'm sitting with someone who's scribbling for 10 minutes and
yeah.
looking up at me who doesn't know me, it's kind of like, I don't know this person. I'm not confident with them.
I don't
Do you know what
trust
I
them.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And then, like, one fella said to me, and my brother went to see the same fella because it's the mental health services down here in Wexford. The
yeah,
fella said to both of us, would you not just get a job? And I was like, oh, fuck, thanks. Didn't think of that. I was like, I
yeah.
was in work, and I was doing all right. And then just had a complete breakdown. Was doing night
Yeah.
shifts. And I think that really triggered something, the
I
sleep
think
deprivation.
So I think because I do, no, I did 24-hour shifts, and I wouldn't,
Yeah,
you don't really sleep, and
no,
not getting sleep really fucked me up. But
yeah,
like you were asking, like when I was younger, kids were kicking off taking drugs at around 16, 17, 18.
yeah,
Now it's different. Like I don't know if it's different for everyone, but the young people in care, they are exposed to drugs at a very young age,
yeah,
and like they're nearly addicts by the time they hit 13, 14, full addicts, and it's hard to get them out of that loop. I know kids that have taken heroin and have never come back from it, but I also
yeah,
do know kids who have taken drugs and gotten away and became mothers or fathers or whatever, and they're actually doing really well. So it's just, I don't know if it's luck of the draw or having someone there that actually really cares about you and is willing to tell you the truth.
yeah,
Really, like, if someone really cares about you, they're going to tell you shit that you don't want to hear. But if someone
yeah.
doesn't really, just yeah, no bother, they won't challenge it. But you need to be
No,
challenged. You really do need to be challenged.
that's the thing. Like I had to hear a lot of things that I didn't want to hear
Yeah,
recently, and it's kind of like, yeah, fair enough. I need to own up to that.
yeah.
The thing is, as well, though, we've never been more educated on the damage of drugs, the damage of alcohol, and yet people, I don't buy the stats that people aren't drinking as much. I just think they're doing it in their house,
Oh, yeah.
because it's more
I,
expensive to go out and do it.
yeah, that's
And
true.
that's the whole thing. Like I remember you go to a gaff at say 6 o'clock, you drink vodka or whatever, shots, you'd mix all sorts. We used to drink whatever we could get our hands on, then head to the pub, then head to a nightclub after. And it's just too much. Like my sensory system was just overloaded,
Overloaded.
being a way like in a really bad way after the weekend.
Yeah.
And I just can't do it anymore. And it's been a
No.
tough one to kind of go, look, you need to stay off alcohol. I've had a
Yeah.
little slip here and there, and it's like, look, even a few points now can put you in a
Yeah.
bad way. But being where we are near the sea and having a really good outdoors type of
Huge help.
life, yeah,
Huge.
really helps.
Like my partner's from Cavan, and like there's not
God
much.
bless her.
Yeah, God bless her, but there's not much down in Cavan. Like, the way you can see the colors in life sometimes, and you can see the beauty, and you're not depressed. But
Yeah,
it can be it's a very mundane place. There's fields everywhere, and there's nothing that changes your perspective. Like on the beach, the weather can change your perspective,
yeah,
the wind, the sea, whatever. But like when you're in the same place, there's nothing that stimulates
I
your
get you.
hobbies or all that stuff. So I do think like there should be a little bit more done. The community, that's what needs to come back. We don't really have community anymore. You have people living in private houses. Yet the best community you'll go to if you go to an estate where it's affordable housing or whatever, it's a council estate. They're real communities because they're
Yeah,
they're not in competition with each other. They're just living. But I find people living in private houses, they shut themselves away
yeah, yeah.
from other people, and it's kind of like we need to come together and start being more social,
I
But
agree.
I just find our views at the moment. There's loads of different views going around at the moment, and we're in a conflict at the moment with people. Like
COVID really made that worse. COVID really
yeah,
shoved people away from each other.
yeah, and they probably thought to themselves of things that they never considered. Like a lot of people were like, "Why the fuck am I working so much?" And
Yeah,
some of them haven't gotten back to work. Like I think you do need some time to think, like, who am I? And you don't want to be working for your whole life and retire and realize actually what the fuck was that all about? You need
yeah,
to a little bit, but I think we need to get back into the community, and that's why I think your youth work, that's what it's all about, mate. That will help you. My
yeah,
job helped me, it really did. It's just that it's unfortunate I haven't got the energy to keep at it, but I've learned so much about myself, and I hope you do too.
yeah, yeah,
I'd encourage you to do like if you want to do it, all you have to do is a level 5. 1 year, and you can actually work as a paid youth worker,
yeah, yeah.
But it's your
I'm
call.
gonna take it one step at a time.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
see how
But
it goes.
yeah, 100%. And talking to you has been great as well. I think
Ah,
if you get the assessment, it'll help you kind of go and make peace with stuff you might have done in the past that you might have thought, oh, that was fucked up. But
that's true.
yeah, it makes sense now. It's
Yeah.
been great having you on, and I can't wait to do more with you. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you coming on.
absolutely. We'll get another one going. We'll get another one going.
100%. Yeah,
We'll get in contact with you, and we'll get a proper agenda going as well, because there's loads
yeah,
of things
yeah.
I wanted to talk about, and it just totally slipped my
Oh,
mind.
there's
So
plenty more. We'll
yeah,
get it all out.
we'll get another one on the go, and sure, I'll link in with you soon enough.
Yeah, happy days. Cheers for coming on, Robbie. Really
Thanks for
appreciate it.
having me. It's been really good talking to you, mate.
You
Really
too.
has.
And I hope you
Right.
get the help you need as well.
Thank